This is the last talk of Working Group 3. And it's about the new European lexicographic infrastructure, which is basically a project. And I guess things look good for lexicography, at least in the next 4 years. But first I have to say something. There wouldn't be any ELEXIS without ENeL, definitely. And people have said that today. And everything I show here is basically from the proposal, which means that this was also written in the proposal. It says ENeL created the possibility to make this proposal, which was successful in the end. What it did: distributed geographical origins from the whole Europe. People came together. It was multidisciplinary lexicography, digital humanities, language technology. This was missing before. So keep that in mind. And this is basic information about the project. The call was infrastructural. So they were looking for new infrastructures in Europe, pan-European infrastructures, and it was for starting communities, which basically means or meant that there is a community of unrelated, isolated infrastructures in different countries in Europe, and it was meant to bring these isolated infrastructures together. And there is no existing infrastructure for that community, and what we defined here is lexicographers or lexicography. It's a topic for this starting community. The project hasn't started yet. It will start when we have the grant agreement signed, and I guess it will be January 2018, but it's not sure yet. It will last for 4 years, 5 million euros. We are the coordinators, so Jože Stefan Institute from Ljubljana, and we have a lot of partners, which is kind of typical for infrastructures, 17 partners from 15 countries. Before I go into partners and all other, I have to start with the goals. What is actually the goal of ELEXIS? And the first sentence is the most important one. The point is here to integrate, extend, harmonize national and regional efforts in the field of lexicography. So, if you are a lexicographer anywhere, basically anywhere in the world, this is the infrastructure for you. And you can work on modern language variant or historical variants. This point is also, the point one is also important. So what has to be done, and it was pointed out, I think, during the day several times, we have to give access to quality lexical data. This is the point. And the second one is also important: bridge the gap between the advanced and lesser resourced scholarly communities, which means that the infrastructure is for everybody, for language institutes, and also for anybody who works in lexicography, needs some tools that don't exist and doesn't know what to do, what standard to use, what to use at all. So this is what's it all about in ELEXIS also. This is how we define the objectives, 5 of them, and it's basically the same thing I described, but very important. So, to enable exchange, knowledge exchange, to make standards for lexicographic resources, well, not non-use standards, but those that will be actually used, workable. So the third objective is very important for, well, let's say, the topic of Working Group 3, because we can extract, structure, and link lexicographic data, which was not done until now, really, well, to enable access. And the last one is also important because lexicographic community, I have to say, is notoriously known as a very closed one. So National institutes don't want to give their dictionaries to anybody. Nobody wants to give their data to anybody, which is understandable, because it took a lot of time and money to make them, so it's kind of important property. This is a problem in, well, let's say, digital world, and ELEXIS will deal somehow with this. What are the expected impacts? Basically, they come from what the objectives are. Provide access, make synergies, also enable use of new technology and data in the industry. This is important for all H2020 proposals or projects. Integrate knowledge-based resources, and the result should be, let's say, a new type of lexicography that no longer views languages as isolated entities. Okay, so this one you saw before, I think. The whole idea is that you have two communities. One is lexicographers, the other one is not a starting community. It's a very well-developed community. Natural language processing, computational linguistics, artificial intelligence, semantic web, a lot of conferences, a lot of money, a lot of industry. So, what we do is create a virtuous cycle, as I call it, when the data comes through linguistic linked open data to that community, the developed one, which can do a lot of things, which we also saw today with Luis's presentation and so. And this knowledge comes back to lexicographers to enable much more, much faster, much better work, not a tedious one, as its lexicography is also famous for. And that's the point of ELEXIS. Now, what was described in the proposal? We have three. This is more related to the call itself. These were requirements of the call. So that's why the proposal was designed in this way. There are three types of activities which were prescribed: joint research activities, networking activities, and transnational access and virtual access activities. Logical. So we have a lot of research basically in the project, which concentrates on two tools and methods for enabling linked lexicographic resources mentioned before, tools and methods to support innovative e-Lexicography. This is, well, the first one is more for getting the data to NLP. The second one is getting the data back to lexicography. Then networking activities, I will not go through. This is pretty standard: documentation, guidelines, workshops, online training models, which Toma mentioned today, data seal of compliance, also mentioned today, and international forum. Transnational access, this is EU lingo, I will explain it now. So virtual access basically means that you are anywhere in the world, you can access something basically through internet. That's a simple explanation of virtual access. And within this activities, we will work on existing data, produce new data, mentioned by, for instance, Milos just now, and we will make a lot of tools, which I will not go through because I don't have time. But you can see, like linking, conversion, word sense disambiguation, extraction, so on, so on. Transnational access, you can understand as advanced kind of STSMs. There will be about 40 visits financed, approximately 10 per year, which will be dedicated to topics that are really important for creating this infrastructure that we're talking about. So we'll have call for these calls. Yeah, we'll have calls, and those who will make proposals that will advance what we want to do most will get funding. And this is also one of the mechanisms to work with the data which is most restricted. So if there is a language institute which really doesn't want to give data to anybody, somebody can get to the institute, work with the data, and then hopefully the institute sees that it's really important that some of the data gets out. This is what staff effort looks like. So the division of resources, about half of the money goes to research, about a quarter goes to networking activities, which means workshops and so on. Quarter of the money goes to transnational and virtual access. So this is the plan. It's just a grand view of the plan. So we'll have 3 separate infrastructures within ELEXIS. Lex 3, Lex 1, Lex 1, Lex 2, Lex 3. Lex 1 is basically to get the data from lexicographic part to NLP and artificial intelligence part. Lex 2 is basically for lexicographers on the other side. And Lex 3 is for, for retro-digitization / digital humanities, what you heard in the morning today. And if we take a closer look now of the parts, as I said, this is the retro-digitization tools working with legacy dictionaries. On the other hand, you have dictionaries which start with an XML structure. Then we have the conversion and alignment tools which use common data models. In the end, this is meant for data to know other data. So if you have a Danish dictionary, you have a Basque dictionary, and both dictionaries know what is a definition, what is what in the other one. And then what we do when the data knows data, we link. Sorry. And this is done in a very clever ways, which are available now through artificial intelligence algorithms and so on. We can match data in different databases, in different resources, either directly or through a common common model, let's say, which will be BabelNet. We also have Sapienza University in the consortium. And even more than that, what we call ELEXIS Matrix Dictionary is something which is a massive resource with linked information from dictionaries, WordNets, anything. And this goes to linguistic linked open data. On the other hand, what we have is something for lexicographers. So if you think that, if you imagine that you have corpora which are perfectly word sense disambiguated, you can extract a lot from them or from other lexical resources, and you can make a dictionary on the fly, or one-click dictionary, or anything. So there will be tools which can make dictionaries or from corpora or from anything else. And this goes back to lexicographic workflow tools, and what we will explore also is new ways of producing dictionaries through crowdsourcing and gamification. There is a new cost action now called ENeL Collect, which is dedicated directly to crowdsourcing in producing lexical resources. So and it just started now, so we'll kind of work hand in hand there. Online training courses, this goes back to the RAIA. Okay. And about organization. So this is the image which shows how ELEXIS will be organized. And I'll go part by part. The consortium in the middle, it's basically 17 partners from 13 EU countries to partners from associated countries with different kind of background, let's say. And this is the picture which shows which are the countries. I will not go through them because I don't have time. Then there is a very important part. So these are target groups which are defined in the proposal. What we defined as professional large-scale lexicography, professional small-scale lexicography, and spontaneous and small-scale lexicography. For each of the groups, there will be many, many ways how to attract or inform them. What we defined as professional large-scale lexicography are language institutes, obviously, standardization bodies, universities which have this lexicographic agenda also, and of course, industry. Then we have small-scale lexicography, professional one. Basically, these are people who are linguists or language professionals, let's say, who work a lot on many types of dictionaries. But they do it like often, every day or often. And there is everybody else.